Hello everyone, welcome to my first tutorial. Today I'll show you how to make these 8 keychains step by step. Don't worry, if you're a beginner, it's easier than it looks. Okay, let's start with the materials we'll need. First up, we have got beads. I'm using size 8 plastic beads, but you can also go with size 10 if you want a slightly bigger look. Next, we'll need fishing line. This is a pretty big spool, but you definitely don't need that much. A smaller amount works just fine. I'm using 0.6 millimeters fishing line here. If you're using crystal beads, I would recommend going with a 0.5 millimeters fishing line instead. And lastly, we'll need scissors to cut the fishing line, plus either a keychain ring or a keychain clasp, whatever you prefer. We'll start with about 1.5 meters of fishing line. Now add 4 beads onto the fishing line. From the last bead, take the other end of the fishing line and cross it through the bead in the opposite direction like this. Then hold both ends of the fishing line and bring the bead down into place. And that's our first ring complete. Now add 1 bead on the right side and 1 bead on the left side. Next, take another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it from opposite directions. Hold both ends of the fishing line and bring the bead down into place. And that's our second ring complete. Now we're going to repeat the same process. Add 1 bead to the right side of the fishing line and 1 bead to the left side. Then pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it from opposite directions. This time there's no need to hold both ends of the fishing line. We only do that for the first 2 rings since we're just getting started and want the beads to stay centered on the fishing line. Once again, repeat the same process. I've made 6 rings so far. To create the 7th ring, add 3 beads to the right side of the fishing line. Then take the other end of the fishing line and pass it through the last bead. Next, add 3 more beads to the right side of the fishing line and once again cross both ends of the fishing line through the last bead. You should end up with something that looks like this. Now we're going to continue with the same pattern. Add 1 bead to the right side of the fishing line and 1 bead to the left side. Then take a 3rd bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. For this row, we already have 2 rings completed, so we need to make 5 more rings to bring the total to 7. Just continue using the same method as before. Once you have completed all 7 rings, take the right end of the fishing line and pass it through these 2 beads. Then take the left end of the fishing line and pass it through these 2 beads as well. Pull both ends of the fishing line tightly. Now, once again, pass the right end of the fishing line through these 2 beads. Then pass the left end of the fishing line through these 2 beads. Pull both ends of the fishing line firmly. Next, pass the right end of the fishing line through these 3 beads. and pass the left end of the fishing line through this bead. Then pull both ends of the fishing line tight. For the next part, add one bead to the right side of the fishing line and one bead to the left side. Then take another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Now repeat the exact same process once more. Next, add one bead to the right side of the fishing line, then pass the right fishing line through this bead in the third ring. Now pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Pull the fishing line firmly to secure the structure, but don't pull too hard so the fishing line doesn't break. Now pass the right fishing line through these 3 beads. And pass the left fishing line through this single bead. Then pull both sides of the fishing line tightly. Next, take the bottom fishing line and pass it through these 2 beads. And take the top fishing line and pass it through these 2 beads as well. Pull the fishing line tight. Again, repeat the same step. Pass the bottom fishing line through these 2 beads and the top fishing line through these 2 beads. Then pull both ends tightly. Now, this time, pass the bottom fishing line through these 3 beads and pass the top fishing line through this bead. Then pull both ends tightly. Finally, tie 2 tight knots so the knot sits on the bead. If you want, you can tie more than 2 knots, just make sure it doesn't come undone. Trim off the extra fishing line at the end. Don't worry if it looks a bit wavy right now, it will fix into shape later. Now we're going to work on the inside of the A shape and its edges. Cut 2.5 meters of fishing line. Pass it through this bead. I'm using a different color for this part so it's easier for you to see and not get confused. On the right side of the fishing line, add 3 beads. Then cross both ends of the fishing line through the last bead. Hold both ends of the fishing line and pull the bead down into place. Now take the left fishing line and pass it through the next bead here. Next, add 2 beads to the right fishing line and pass both ends through the last bead. Hold both ends of the fishing line and bring the bead down into place. Take the left fishing line and pass it through the next bead. Then pull it tight. Add 2 beads to the right fishing line and cross both ends through the last bead. Next, pass the left fishing line through this bead like this and continue repeating the same steps. Add 2 beads again and repeat the same pattern. For the last ring of this section, take the fishing line I'm holding and pass it through these 2 beads. Now add 1 bead to the right fishing line, then pass it through this bead and pull both sides tight. Now pass the bottom fishing line through this bead and pass the top fishing line through these 3 beads. Then pull both ends of the fishing line tightly. Next, pass the right fishing line through these 2 beads and pass the left fishing line through these 2 beads as well. Now on the right side, add 3 beads and cross both ends of the fishing line through the last bead. Then pass the fishing line through the next bead here. After that, add 2 beads and cross both ends of the fishing line through the last bead. Keep repeating the same pattern. When we reach the top of the A shape, we need to attach the keychain ring. Pass the fishing line through this bead. Now on the right side, add 1 bead and attach either a keychain ring or a keychain clasp through the fishing line. Then add another bead and pass the other end of the fishing line through it. Next, pass the fishing line through the next side bead. Now take the top fishing line and pass it through this small ring. Then add 2 beads and continue the same process as before. To create the last ring, take the bottom fishing line and pass it through these 2 beads. Add 1 bead to the right fishing line, then pass the fishing line through this bead. Finally, pull both ends of the fishing line tightly. Now pass the fishing line in my right hand through these 3 beads. Then pass the other fishing line through this single bead. Take a look at where both ends of the fishing line are positioned now. Next, add 1 bead to the right fishing line and pass it through this bead. Then pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Now pass the right fishing line through this bead and the left fishing line through this bead. This is what it should look like. Next, pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Repeat the same process once again. Add 1 bead to the right fishing line and pass the same fishing line through this bead. Then pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Pass the right fishing line through this bead and the left fishing line through this bead. Continue following the same pattern. Now pass the right fishing line through these 2 beads and pass the left fishing line through these 2 beads as well. Pull both ends of the fishing line tight. Once again, pass the right fishing line through these 2 beads and the left fishing line through these 2 beads. Now pay close attention to this part. Pass the right fishing line through this bead, then pass the same fishing line through the same bead again to create a loop. Take the other end of the fishing line and pass it through these two beads. Then pass the same fishing line through the loop we just created. Now gently pull the right fishing line so the loop settles in the center of the bead. After that, pull both ends of the fishing line firmly and evenly to keep the loop from sticking out. Finally, trim off the excess fishing line. Cut about 1 to 1.5 meters of fishing line. Pass it through these 3 beads. And continue using the same method as before. For the tip of our A, pass the left fishing line through these 2 beads. Then pick up 1 bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Next, pass the left fishing line through these 2 beads. Pick up another bead and cross both ends of the fishing line through it. Pull the fishing line tight so all the beads sit neatly in place. Then we will do the exact same steps on this side, just like the other side. Alright, our A is now complete. The only thing left is to hide the extra fishing line. Just like we hide the fishing line on the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Gently pull the left fishing line so the loop settles in the center of the bead. If the loop sticks out like this, don't worry, with a little pressure it will slide back into the bead. Pull both ends of the fishing line firmly so the loop tightens inside the bead, and trim off the excess fishing line. And that's it for our A keychain. You have to admit, it was easier than it looks. If you run into any problems or if there's any step you didn't understand, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.